Welcome back to Gale Force Wins Season 4.
The Gale Force Wins podcast is proudly sponsored by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association. The NLCA provides unparalleled opportunities for its members through industry education, construction information, government advocacy, and networking events. The NLCA is building Newfoundland and Labrador. For more information, visit nlca.ca.
And welcome to a very special edition of Gale Force Wins. We are in an incredible location, Jerry, and I'm so happy to be where we are here today. And I'm so excited to get into this conversation. Jerry, what are your initial thoughts about the setting that we're in?
Well, it's incredible. What Kelly and his team have built here is incredible. I can't even begin to describe it. My wife, in fact, is texting me, asking me where I was, and I sent her a few pictures, and she can't get over it. It's been quite an interesting conversation getting ready to sit down at the table. A lost drone, which we found, and here we are now ready to talk to someone that I don't know a lot about you, Kelly, but I can't wait, Alan, to get into it.
Yeah, I tell you, if I can describe one word for where we are, that's peaceful. I feel at peace, relaxed, and I can't wait to break bread with you, Kelly.
There you go.
Before we go any further with this wonderful chat with Kelly Sullivan, the founder of Kokomo Botanical Resort, we wanted to take you on a walk around the property to ensure you have a visual of the beautiful tropical island getaway Kelly and his team have created. We are not going to take away from the tranquility of this place with a lengthy voiceover, but bear with us for some commentary at the beginning to allow a description of what you are seeing. Once that commentary is complete, we will let the ambiance of birds and flowing water speak for themselves. After that, we will rejoin Kelly in his kitchen as his world-class chef prepares a meal for us. Conveniently located in the heart of sunny Providenciales, Kokomo Botanical Resort is a luxury hub for enjoying all that the Turks and Caicos has to offer. Offering a taste of an opulent island lifestyle, Kokomo is certainly located for exploring everything that this lovely Caribbean locale has to offer. Kokomo can truly take you away from it all. Secluded accommodations for an island hideaway. Private island cottage havens, secluded and sheltered in a gated, beautiful botanical gardens. There are 38 private cottages that offer comfort and convenience. For those who value their own space and appreciate the privacy and comfort of having a more generous personal space, unlike cramped hotel rooms, these cottages have full kitchens, separate living spaces, and 2 bedrooms, allowing you to retreat for quiet whenever you need to. You can welcome the morning on your private patio with your morning coffee. Premium bath and bed linens as you relax in your own little oasis surrounded by elegant gardens. You can soothe and restore your balance at the Lavina Spa. Relax and recharge with spa treatments from Lavina Spa. Luxuriate in your peaceful escape in this luxury resort Balinese garden spa pavilion, offering beauty and wellness treatments in their secluded private island garden spa pavilion. Enjoy the quiet solitude and serenity as you are pampered with luxury in the indoor-outdoor treatment room. They offer massages, facials, and/or body treatments. They also offer a signature fire and water massage, combining a hot stone massage with a Vichy shower massage. Dining. Discover the ultimate dining destination on Providenciales to satisfy your every craving with a diverse range of culinary experiences. The world-class chefs at Kokomo Botanical Resort craft masterpieces infused with international flair, nourishing both body and soul. Choose the dining experience you wish and expect to be captivated and inspired. Elevated dining options. Choose your culinary experience. Kokomo Botanical Resort offers a diverse range of dining experiences to cater to every visitor's desires, all centered around the concept of premium whole foods using superior ingredients prepared with culinary excellence. The Wee Market Cafe is the heart of the resort, blending zen-like tranquility with open-concept dining, featuring a menu that flawlessly combines Eastern and Western flavors. The Chef's Table offers an exclusive, intimate culinary adventure with world-class chefs crafting limited edition dining courses. This is where Alan and Jerry spent time with Kelly at the Chef's Table for the following interview. For those on the go, grab-and-go options provide convenience without compromising on quality. Whether you're socializing in the Wee Market Cafe, indulging in a chef-crafted experience for a special occasion, or needing a quick bite, Kokomo Botanical Resort ensures a delicious, nourishing experience. Premium luxury amenities and features. The Kokomo Botanical Resort, natural beauty and luxury amenities. Their gated, tranquil botanical gardens may make the perfect setting for your tropical island escape. Please enjoy the rest of this tour.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, I'm flattered by the comments, but I feel like you have X-ray vision, can see right through me, talking about the peaceful environment. And your wife, where the heck are you? Well, we all know that Beach Boys song, Kokomo, off the Florida Keys, a place to get away from her. So you say, oh, I'm in Kokomo. But you are at Kokomo. But anyways, Kelly Sullivan, the initial J, is for my father, but I've been called Kelly since birth. And fellow Canadians, right? It's my honor and my pleasure to be sitting with you at the chef's table, found in an open concept kitchen in the heart of Kokomo. The kitchen's the heart of the home, and it's the heart of this property. And here we are at the chef's table to have an amazing dinner and go on a journey.
A journey will be, Kelly, and you're right. And thank you for situating us where we are at the chef's table here. Let's talk a little bit about you. Where you come from in Canada, and tell us about that.
Well, just to say that, I know how little I know about the big blue marble, but even about myself. Because from the day we're born, it's a journey that you only go as far as the last step that you take. And it's a journey that I realized it's all a dream. But it's either a nightmare, if you want to believe it's a nightmare, or it's just wonderful, if you want to believe it's wonderful. And so my wonderful journey starts actually in Mississauga, Ontario, the town of Mississauga. The town of Mississauga. I remember when it turned into a city, and I said, well, what's the difference? Well, I was back this past summer, and there's a lot of difference when I'm in an Airbnb condo 33 floors up from 5 and 10. Dundas and here in Ontario as it was for me. But so I was started this journey in Mississauga, Port Credit, and from there went across the river, across Mississauga Road into Clarkson Lorne Park, and that was really where I guess those formative years really started to take shape. Living in Clarkson Lorne Park, and it was wonderful. I could go home and watch the Flintstones at lunchtime. Be back in class, and really short walk to school. And we had a little stream in our backyard, and there was actually fish in there. And so all of a sudden, I want to catch the fish. So now, before you even know really what fishing's all about, you want to fish, right? And then you want to go, where does that stream come from? I mean, where's the mountains? Where is that water coming from? But it was so profound for me at such an early stage in life, where there's water, there's forests, there's trees, there's nature. And that's ultimately why I am where I am in the beautiful by nature Turks and Caicos Islands, where I got surrounded by lots of water, lots of fish, a lot more sunshine, might I add. But I did grade school there. I played a lot of team sports. My parents actually divorced in '69. Not to age myself.
Wow.
And it was very rare, but I have 3 brothers, and it was one of the first cases that I understand. I may be mistaken on this, but it's one of the first cases in Canadian history where you had paternal custody to 4 boys in 1969. Very rare, right? But it's part of my journey, and a very significant part. I have 3 amazing, talented younger brothers. But you're only as good as those that surround you. But it also meant I had a certain role and responsibility at a very young age with a workaholic father who was actually a real estate developer. I learned the science from him. He was way better at numbers than me, but I think it'd be an interesting conversation if you were alive today, because I think I was a better artist than him. Well, like land is a canvas, right? That's how I see it anyways. And as we walk the property today, but you roll the clock back to the earliest days, where I was living in Mississauga, right across the street with these custom homes built. And of course, in Canada, you got to dig down below the frost line. But when you dig all that dirt out, now it's a big mound on the edge there. And of course, I got to go climb that hill. I get to the top, but I slide back down, not to ground level, but 6 feet below, stuck in the basement of this to-be house. But it was all part of the adventure, in a sense. But let's just slip from one thing to the next. And, there's a lot of gaps in between here. But that's what we're going to talk about.
Did your dad see this place?
He saw this as raw land.
Really?
He never saw it as a finished product.
Did you tell him what was in your head at all, or no?
Yeah, I could, right?
Yeah.
You know, I was very fortunate in part of this upbringing. We had our cottage in Muskokas in Honey Harbor, and it was pretty cool. Bill Davis's cottage was right across from us. So from a very young age, I got influenced by, business type politics. I mean, politically, this landscape's changed a lot from then to now, but that's still part of my essence and who I am. But way beyond that, because I don't really consider myself political, so to speak. But what's good? But capitalism tends to work. As Deng Xiaoping in communist China, quote unquote, said, "To get rich is good."
Yeah.
Right. And of course, there's a lot of really rich people in China today. We'll maybe touch on that a little bit later on too, since I've spent many years of my life there.
Right.
But it's about seeing that horizon when you're out in the water, going to a cottage, and then our chalet in Beaver Valley is at Niagara Escarpment, seeing the horizon there. My last home in Mississauga, it wasn't up 33 floors, but seeing the horizon there, I always found that when I look at the horizon, I just feel at peace. At peace.
I'm feeling some peace right now. It's the aroma from the kitchen hits us as well.
What is it about the horizon that gives you that? Is it the
It's the
line
yin and yang. It's the there's heaven and earth. There's there's that dividing line. It's just balanced, right? And so we're grounded. But then the sky's the limit, right? And just looking at there, I'd find my own sense of balance, right?
You talked about sports were a big part of your life when you were young. Tell me about that.
The formative years.
Tell me about it.
My father always wanted me to play individual sports, but I was too much into the team sports. I mean, I'm Canadian. I'm proud to say I scored my first goal on my butt just outside the crease line. But you're 6 years old, but that was team sports, right? And so it's just you're only as good as those that surround you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be the weakest link. So I better haul ass and do whatever I can do to help the team win or achieve whatever goals are at hand, right? Because in life, on a personal level, on a professional level, on a societal level, when the team works, the dream works, right? So I always like to inspire people and come on, let's keep going. But that all came from those earliest rudimentary days in playing team sports. Hockey, lacrosse, rugby. The three, I played a little bit of football, but my legs are too short. I couldn't run very far, very fast.
Any big sports figures inspire you, or coaches?
Yeah, I suppose there always is. Where I lived in Lorne Park, Daryl Siller had a home on the same ravine, and he was a pretty famous guy. And of course, Dave Keon and the Leafs, being from Toronto. I'd like to see them win another Stanley Cup. It's a long time, but on the hockey side is where it was like biggest, I suppose. Right. There wasn't a lot of idols playing lacrosse.
No.
Right. It was in lacrosse where actually, some of my teammates are still in touch to this day. We went all the way to the nationals and won in our age category, which was you had to be really disciplined.
Yeah.
Which is another one of my takeaways in life, right? Is you take a disciplined approach, no matter what it is. You can't be successful in life if you're not consistent, right?
There's so much to talk about there, but there's so much to dive into on them.
I'm sorry, I'm not being a good host here. Where's
I think they're coming there, Kelly.
Oh, okay.
I can see behind you. There's a lot of action happening.
Yeah, there you go.
As the camera can as well. So that's great. Oh wow. You're going to introduce yourself and tell us what these are in 1 second, as soon as you lay them down.
Thank you.
You can reach across if you want. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Thank you.
So here you go. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you just gave us?
Hi, gentlemen and everyone. My name is Erica. I will be the mixologist, and I created something a bit special for you this evening. We have a house-made mango puree. I incorporated some berries to make it nice and sweet, a little bit of lemon juice, topped up with some soda water, and I call it the Mango Berry Kiss.
Wonderful.
But what alcohol have you got in here?
Normally I would use a rum. It's a rum. Yeah,
right.
a nice dark rum would go well with it.
So in the ethos of the property, yin and yang, detox,
Right.
Retox.
Exactly.
We take a balanced approach.
You take a balanced approach. Thank you, Erica.
Thanks, Erica.
So, brothers, you had, tell me about your brothers, a little bit about your growing up with those guys.
Wow.
Rough and tumble kind of.
Well, that was even interesting too, right? You know, I mean, like yin and yang, you get passive and aggressive, right? Well, 4 boys, you know, some are going to be more passive and some are going to be more aggressive. Well, I think naturally, I mean, I inherited because I was firstborn, right? You know, I think any one of my brothers could have made a better first brother than myself. You know, because I'm always thinking of doing other things and want to do micro business and that and what have you made. But 2 of us played more team sports than the others. But today we're all very much individuals.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm really looking forward to the fact that a week today, I'm heading towards Mexico. We're all going to come together for one of our nieces, the next generation. The oldest of the next generation. We went from 4 boys going to 6 nieces.
Okay.
Right? So, you know, and the oldest of them is getting married on the full moon right now, on the 28th of October in Mexico.
What part of Mexico?
In León, Guanajuato. Right?
Wow,
My
never
youngest,
heard of it.
it's up in the mountains,
Yeah.
right? It's a shoe capital, or was originally a shoe capital. But my youngest brother, Stephen, I'll just very chronologically go from youngest back to oldest. He was, you know, he was a lucky one of the bunch in a sense because he got to go to the best high school, Ridley College in St. Catharines. And there's a lot of international kids there, including some affluent Mexican families. Well, I think we all had our own wild streak, right? But which is why we live in 4 different countries. We had to fly by airplanes to see each other. But he ended up going to Mexico after he finished this, you know, investment that our father made into his education, more than ourselves. You know, the 3 older ones combined. But you know, bless his soul, like Stephen went boom to Mexico, where he still stay. Has a beautiful family there. Has a very interesting life, in fact. You know, maybe more, maybe historically more wild than myself, but a bit more mild, right? But and brother number 3, he's Brian is incredibly. I think they're all artistically inclined in their own way, but the 2 youngest ones, Brian draws pencil drawings every day, and there's storybooks he's created for his daughters. And right now, his oldest daughter is at the Berkeley School in Boston, where Quincy Jones went, and she's been dancing entire life, and she has a performance at Berkeley right now in the next couple months. I just learned about this just today.
Wow.
Where my brother has created the music that she's going to dance to
You've got to be kidding me.
at Berkeley.
That's incredible.
But he creates all of our logos, anything you see digitally. You know, we collaborate on it, right? It's just like, okay, Bri, I mean, I have my own. We all talk about having our own art form, right? And I said, you have to think of me like my hands have been cut off because my writing is chicken scratch. I can't paint. I can't draw. You know, this is my art form, right? But he does all the graphics design and all that sort of stuff. You know, the branding side of things, and a whole lot more, right? Including, I don't know if you saw the signs at SOTIC right now. You know, that's the latest thing that we just finished doing. But they incorporate the logo alive and well,
Right.
which is why we're here, right? But like, you know, you got the fire and the water, or the sun and the sea, right? And you have yin and yang,
Yeah.
right? It all ties together.
It all ties together.
Yeah. And then brother number 2, I'm envious of brother number 2. He lives east of Toronto, and he's the first to cross that finish line to retire.
Okay.
Remember Freedom 55, London Life Freedom 55 says, okay, I'm living in the Turks and Caicos Islands. I'm not going to have to pay as much, well, direct tax for sure. I'm going to get there first.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't happen. He sold his practice. He was a chartered accountant like our father was. He was a developer, but with a chartered accountant background. Pete Mark Mitchell, I guess. So he went the accounting route, I went the developer route, right? So like I said, but even numbers is a science in its own right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he figured out how to be retired before 60. So I tip my hat to him.
And he actually wanted to retire. Most entrepreneurs don't want to retire.
Yeah. I guess maybe when you're an accountant, and you know, we're all pretty spiritual, and my brother Mike, he's a a real devout believer in Catholicism, and the passion he puts into the Catholic Church and its beliefs, and of course what's going on right now. There's a lot of people disillusioned with what's going on, and so that's kind of a challenge. So I says, you know what? I can focus on these other areas where I feel I can directly and indirectly have a positive impact on people's lives, and I admire that a lot.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I'm not religious myself. I'm spiritual, like 1,000%,
Yeah.
right? But we have great conversations, right? Because the way I look at life, the way I look at life is that it's one whole. We call this very establishment, you know, the We Market Cafe. You see east there, west on the other side of the wall. WE is we. There is no east without west, or one without the other, right? And so we have these great conversations about what is. I always just look at it from a wholesome standpoint, the sum of everything that's there.
I love the way you described each one of your brothers. It was just fantastic.
Well, they'll probably hear this one day, so they're probably going to kick my ass. No.
We'll find their emails and send it to them.
Yeah, there you go.
Kelly, you
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome,
Yeah.
you know.
Cheers.
And just so that you know, I have a detox version too.
Good.
You know.
Kelly, you're about to go see the brothers. You're all coming together.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Nowhere near often enough. In fact, we've been talking about that most recently. We cannot remember the very last time we've actually done this. You know, we're alive for a short time and we're dead forever.
Yeah.
All we have is now. And we always feel like we're immortal when we're younger.
Yeah.
But you get to the point where, you know what, we need to do this more often. That's what's more important. No such thing as a U-Haul behind a hearse.
No.
No, there's not.
That's a good saying.
You're so right.
You know.
Kelly, you've touched on it a couple of times. And before we get into your journey, kind of through your academic years and the like, you touched on spirituality. You mentioned that a number of times. Tell me what the root of that is for you. What does that mean to you?
Wow, that's a loaded question, but it's a wonderful question. It's a wonderful question. You know, in nothing, we find everything. There's an abundance of everything. AC/DC, positive, negative, this and that, dark and light, and all the zones, all the gray zones in between. And I guess it's to step back and appreciate that everything exists there. I just wish it was in harmony.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's not even natural. Not even in the animal kingdom, it's not natural.
Yeah.
But you know, I like to always just be on the side of all things positive and shun away from all things negative. Even negative energy, 5G, you know, industrial pollution. Yeah, I'll go into a city. I love going back to Toronto. I love going to the St. Lawrence Market. And by the way, tonight's dinner has been flown in from the Uppercut Meats, from the St. Lawrence Market in Toronto, Canada.
Can't wait.
He's getting excited.
I can't wait.
Right? So, in my youngest years, you know, I it was an acronym, but WASP. And I said, "What's WASP?" "That's a bee." And I said, "You know, you're called WASP. That's your label, right?" But you know, so that the Anglican Protestant sort of thing, a name like Kelly Sullivan, it's kind of Irish, I think, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
You could be from Newfoundland with that name.
that's true. Maybe Ireland too, because guys actually have the name Kelly in Ireland.
Yeah.
So I'm told. So you have the WASP, but then when, as a teenager, I had the opportunity to go to Italy. And it's like, this mold is starting to fall apart here, or it's not shaping the way that it looked like in the first years, because I had this incredible opportunity at 16 years of age to go to Italy and learn Italian. And those 6 months that I spent in Italy were to this day one of the happiest times in my entire life. Well, I didn't have any responsibility to 3 younger brothers. My father or my parents weren't there. It was just like, I'm out, I'm free, right? And that freedom sticks with me to this day. And you see that why we're going to have tonight Liberty School, right?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, sort of thing. Anyways, not to try to crack a bad joke, because I'm not a good joke teller, but you know, then seeing Catholicism. but seeing the family fabric with the Italians, it was amazing. Again, it's that team thing again in a different format, right? Which I think is crucially important to the fabric of society, right? Well, we have an interruption here.
Bring it on, chef.
Here comes the Swato Tribo.
We're going to
All
say
right,
hello.
Chef, you're going to have to explain, tell us who you are and explain what you put in front of us. Here you go.
What is in the product I need to explain, right?
So first, who are you?
What's your name?
So myself, Chef Anil, which I belong from India. So I've been in this island like next month I'll be completing my 1 year. So I'm very new in Caribbean. So I've been traveling like, this is my 4th country and I've been in island only. So I've been used to the island. So
Yeah.
You're not the first generation chef in your family.
no, my father is also a chef.
Wow.
So it's the 2nd generation. I'm just following my father.
Fantastic.
I get inspiration from my father. So I'm just continuing it.
Thank you very much, Chef.
Kelly is incredibly interesting, but I also have a view of the kitchen, which I'm watching. I have no idea what's going on because I don't know what I'm doing in the kitchen, but I love watching you guys work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what do you got?
What do we have? Yeah.
Okay, so I'll quickly explain. So I'll start from here. Strawberries, blueberries. This is the homemade fig spread. This is provolone cheese, cherry tomatoes, Italian sausages
From the St. Lawrence Market.
from St. Lawrence Market, Ontario.
Yes.
And this is the homemade French baguette. This is artisan copa hot, sweet, and this is salami, which is hot.
Wow.
And both of those salamis, we actually bring them from a small family business, Tagliari, in the Caledon Hills.
Wow.
We just do a FedEx with their stuff. So we got like authentic Italian, charcuterie meats
Right from Caledon.
from Caledon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chef.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you. Yeah. So there you have it. Bon appetito.
Bon appetit. Yeah.
You know.
Well, so
These, before you tell bamboo straws, would I say?
Yes. A straw.
Straw.
Keep it natural.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
You know, because even if it's a paper straw,
Yeah.
now we've taken a tree out of the forest.
yeah, right.
Leave the trees in the forest. Like this whole kitchen, this table, these lights, this bar, even in the kitchen, it's all bamboo.
I do have a question I need to ask. As a guy who knows nothing about the kitchen, this is a chef's table. Explain to me, what does that mean? It's in the restaurant. So what is a chef's table?
And it's a great question. In fact,
Maybe
you know,
it shows what I don't know.
we know we have the culinary arts, right? The culinary arts is the artists, these chefs, these master chefs, and you know, you look at some plates. I mean, there's an artistic value to it, and they create that in a kitchen. But for an artist has a studio, a chef has a kitchen. The studio for a chef, his gallery, right? Art gallery, art studio, where he creates it in the studio and it shows in the gallery. Well, it goes from the kitchen. The gallery for a chef is the table, the chef's table. So this is the art gallery for the chefs in our open concept kitchen.
So do customers normally sit here?
This is a very special fine dining experience.
Okay.
Where the chef has that creative freedom based on certain dietary restrictions on the one hand, or how much people are prepared to spend for the art.
Right.
Right? I mean, in today's dollars, in October 2023, you know, we're just under $200 per person, Canadian. Or no, well, in American it's 175.
Right.
We'll say hello. Sorry, Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Of course, as well.
Hey.
Excellent, very smooth as well. Yes.
You're gone off the camera a little bit. Just move
Gotta-
back a little.
yeah,
Okay.
You'll be in
You're
the
so
frame.
tall.
Perfect.
Most definitely.
He is
Most
very
definitely. Oh yeah. So
Your
welcome.
name and what do you do?
Well, my name is Corenzo. I'm pretty much smooth as well. So I'm pretty much assistant manager here at Pretty Much Says as well.
Wow.
Almost definitely the front of house service, and also of course organizing of the Palermo resorts. Most definitely.
You were there when I lost the drone, were you not?
Oh yeah.
Serious?
Unfortunately, we're
Did
really
you
good.
see-
Found it. Yeah.
What was my reaction? It was the first time I had ever lost a drone, and so it was.
very smooth. But yes, most definitely.
I didn't feel smooth inside, but it's a pleasure meeting you.
Of course. Lucky thing we found it, of course, as well. And back on track. Why not?
It's wonderful to meet the team players, right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot more behind the
Lots
scenes.
more behind the
Oh
scenes.
my God.
Thank you very much.
Lots more
Yeah,
parts.
thank you. Yeah.
We talked about Italy and how kind of a big
Yeah,
piece of that.
cut short because, talking on the religious side, from the Protestant to the Catholic, well, fast forward 4 years after that, now I'm off to China. Buon appetito.
When you reach, I just moved in for you.
I'm actually a light eater.
Okay.
No one's going to go hungry here. In fact, maybe I will indulge a little bit. I can't say no to good food, which is one of the reasons why I do what I do, right?
Yeah.
Alive and well, like we call the company. Eat well, drink well, think well, stay alive and well, right?
Take me from Italy to China. What was the leap there? We started down that path. And I got you. I promised I wouldn't do that. And here I do.
Very first thing you do.
So let me go back.
It gives me an opportunity to, think a little bit more before responding. Well, when I came back from Italy, I obviously had to finish high school. And from high school, went to university, and I guess it goes back to years before. In Toronto, they had Caravan. Toronto was, and to this day is a very cosmopolitan city. There's been a lot of preservation of various cultures, both ethnically and from a geographic, regionally around the world. And I always found that so fascinating, just like to go to different places. In fact, I really started going to Disney in Florida, in Orlando.
Really?
I don't know if you guys ever had that experience, but there was that one ride. It's kind of, today you would call it cheesy. You probably wouldn't say that back when we were kids, because we'd say, "What do you mean cheesy?" It's a small world after all. And again, it just ties back into different cultures, different places. I just love going on that little cheesy ride because I knew it's going to keep changing as a little boat. Exactly.
Yeah.
And inside, outside, and it's a small world after all. Well, I mean, if there was subliminal education going on, that it worked, because the world is your oyster, and of course, Toronto's always had a very strong Chinese presence. On a North American basis, in Toronto. Obviously it's sprawled now into the greater GTA, but to go to Chinatown and go into Chinese restaurants and see they don't have fork and knife, they had chopsticks. I loved it. I just sucked it all up. And so, all right, I got to go to Italy. That's related to the real estate development side of thing and construction. But I said, well, there's that sleeping giant out there that if you'd studied history, you'd realized 18 of the last 20 centuries, the balance of power has not really been in the West, so to speak. Right. It's been in China, it's been in Asia. And, even though I was an undergrad student of political science and economics, but right from when I started university, I had the opportunity to take an elective of Mandarin Chinese, 1982, 41 years ago.
Wow. So you started studying Chinese then?
Boom. Right from my first day, second class of university. Never forget it.
Really?
And then, but I knew that in studying Mandarin Chinese, that, Dad, I went to Italy to learn Italian. I got to figure out a way to go to China, right? And there was a consortium of U.S. universities, the Ivy League schools, through their East Asian studies. They had it open to American students, but it wasn't just limited to American students. It could apply to these programs at the preeminent Chinese universities, Beijing University, Fudan University, Nanjing University. And so as a Canadian, I could apply, right? So if I don't try, you don't know, right? If you don't shoot, you can't score.
No.
Right? So.
I like the hockey analogies, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
Alan's worried because I really like hockey, but anyway, keep going.
So anyway, I second year, I said, there's this program. It was actually very expensive. I mean, it's all managed by Harvard and Yale and Columbia, Princeton, just the elite Ivy League type schools. I mean, they're expensive education to begin with. They got the special program set up where you can go to the Ivy League universities in China. But you had to apply. You had to do a written test. You had to do an oral test because they only have so many seats. And may the strongest survive, sort of thing. And I said, this is my only ticket. This is 1984 to go into China.
Right.
This is my only chance. Because if this doesn't happen, how's it going to happen? Outside of that curriculum at that age, today, every kid should learn Chinese, by the way, Mandarin Chinese. If there was as many people in the West that spoke and understood Mandarin Chinese, the world would be such a much more peaceful place than what it is.
Yeah.
Explain that. Unpack that a little bit for me.
Well, just think of a relationship between a man and a woman, or husband and wife, partner A and partner B. How well can you get along in life if you can't communicate?
Not very well.
Good points.
X marks the spot. End of conversation.
Right.
Right? So, once you learn a language, you learn a culture, you learn a philosophy, you don't have to fear the unknown. Because that's really what it is.
Right.
I've got a 4-decade history with China on the ground, in their elite universities, submerging into their fabric of their everyday society. When I was there in the 1980s, I know what it's like to be a minority, not because I live in Turks and Caicos Islands, but my time in Italy, because I'm not Italian, I was surrounded by Italians. That was, I guess, my stepping stone, but now I'm in a sea of Chinese people that don't even speak the same language, but I absolutely loved it. When in Rome, do as the Romans, right?
How long did it take you to learn the language? I heard you speaking fluently.
Yeah, well,
You've been fluent for many years, but
yeah. Well, you like this one, Chairman Mao, frowned upon in the West. The guy had to be genius, so he did. But you know what? There's a lot of people that start out with good intentions, and we do fuck up along the way.
Yeah.
Is it okay to swear?
Sure.
Yeah.
The internet.
It is. We
don't care.
It's just like, you know what? It's just like, and that's okay, because out of that you learn from mistakes, and that's where Deng Xiaoping came in, and that's the modern day China. But Mao had this saying, 活到老学到老, right? If you live until you're old, you're going to learn until you're old. But if you learn until you're old, you're going to live until you're old too. So it's just a journey of constantly learning. So I keep trying to learn things. I know how little I know, and I'm conscious of that. I've had to know enough to realize how much you don't know, but it's infinite. What do you want to learn about? What do you want to do in life? Go for it, right? So, yes, Mandarin's been part of me, but I suppose I had my own realization that I had achieved a level of fluency, which is not just speaking, it's just, reading. I can't write in English, I don't write in Chinese, but in Chinese, if you can read Chinese, you can type Chinese.
Okay.
Right? So I had the faculties there, but when I was living in Taiwan, which was a very interesting part of my life, well, it's all been interesting. But for now, I'm exposed to Asiatic thought, and with what China was as a day, where essentially with a single party state system, there isn't religion, but China has a very rich culture. You can't expunge all of that. It's inherent in the language, right? The simple things like saying good, hao, right? They say ni hao. You probably heard of ni hao. How are you? How are you? Well, that character hao, right? All characters are made of characters, right? But the etymology of the character for hao is 2 characters. One is the essence of mother, and the other is the essence of son. If you've got mother and son, that's good. You got another generation coming along, right?
Yeah.
Right? But you can't change that out of the etymology of the language, which actually is very interesting, the context of what we're being exposed to in this day and age, over the internet, through the plethora of channels, you don't know what to believe anymore.
Right.
No.
But when you decrypt it into another language, where you can't manipulate the characters that have been created over thousands of years, like you can create new words today in English. You can't. The characters of the Chinese language, the etymology is there from thousands of years ago. So it allows you to actually see things a little bit clearer in a sense, but it's very hard because it's still language that not many people understand. But if we all, as a Western world, knew as much about, even with the language and the culture and that of the Eastern world, as the Eastern world knows about the Western world, the world would be a
Different place.
completely different place.
Tell me, take me back if you can. Do you remember walking off the plane first time going to China?
Absolutely.
What was that like? What was that feeling?
It's interesting how you said, take me back. Well, I remember, going to China, and to go to China back then, I had to fly from Toronto to Chicago, Chicago to San Francisco, San Francisco to Hawaii, Hawaii to Hong Kong.
Wow.
Right?
Well,
of
that's
course, now
3 days?
Well, it was, in a sense, I loved it, right?
Yeah.
Now, don't ask me to do it that way today, right? Especially the way I've been fortunate to do it over the last 40 years, right?
Yeah.
Which has been amazing, that experience unto itself. But to go back to that very first trip, landing in Shanghai, well, I actually started in Hong Kong. And this is before the British-Sino Accord was signed. If you like free market wheelie dealing and just, it's such an amazing, dynamic place. I'm talking Hong Kong in 1984. Remember the changeover was in 97. Right. So to be there and to witness, that history, how Hong Kong was then, buy anything anywhere. I go into an electronics store and barter for that Canon camera. You don't like the price there, go to the next one. And that's actually one of the things I did when I was in Hong Kong. I was the only Canadian student, by the way, that went in with this group. There were 16 of us in that first group, 15 Americans and the Lone Ranger from Canada, right? It was kind of good because predominantly they were women, and we had to be teamed up in a dorm room. Well, there was 3 guys. All right, you American guys, you get together, I've got my own room. That suited me just fine. But anyways, so you land in a place like Hong Kong. It was absolutely incredible. And in fact, you would think it's not as incredible today after 97. No, it's 10 times more incredible than what it was before.
Really?
Under this new regime as a special administrative region, right? Of course, you're always going to read things in the press. So just go for yourself and see for yourself, be your own judge. Everything's an opinion anyways, or so much is an opinion. Anyways, but going from there, I had to take a train over to Guangzhou. And getting into this plane, it had to be from the 1940s or 1950s. I could see, on the door, just looking to see where it was made, it was all Russian.
Right.
And I said, oh my God, it's time to do my Hail Marys. I'm going to get in this old rickety aircraft and fly from Guangzhou to Shanghai, right? And so I land in Shanghai, which is the Paris of the 21st century. And it's so completely different now than what it was back then. But landing in Shanghai, and this airport was like massive. There's no buildings, there's no people, there was like nothing. And a bus came out to us. I said, shit. I literally felt like I was in a time machine leaving Toronto, and now here, it's like I went back 50 years.
Yeah.
Back 50 years. Everything was antiquated. Everything was like 50 years old.
Right.
Back then, right? 84. So maybe it was the 1940s. Maybe it was a very old aircraft. It was like,
Right.
It should be in a museum or something like that. But back then, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Right? Not today.
No.
Today, no.
The newest aircraft on planet Earth are all in China. Boeing makes aircraft in China. So does Airbus.
Yeah.
That's where the market is.
Yeah.
Right? Or a big market. Right? So, but it was pretty amazing. But having that influence in China and then over in Taiwan where I got exposed to Buddhism, right? But in China, you never hear it referred to this way, but Taoism, which is all laws of nature, right? Where Taoism, you have a secular study of Taoism, which is more like a religion, but laws of nature, just be at one with nature, which more people today than ever before aspire to be at one with nature. It's a challenge. It's tough, and there's people that want to protect the blue marble. It's like, but you can't have everybody sitting at the table and be happy either.
Right.
There's this and there's that, right? I sidestep myself from all of that, but that wholesome way of being at one with nature, which is why I live in the Turks and Caicos Islands. I look at the horizon every day. I see the sunrise every day. It's just approach to life.
So, your first trip into China, I sense that there's been many, many other journeys in your life, many other impactful points, and I sense every journey has impacted you somehow. Are there some that really jump off the page for you that you say, that was a defining moment for me, that was something that has changed me?
Well, I think the first journeys that changed me is when my father would take us for a picnic on the weekend, and we're going into like Lake Kelso, like one of the parks or whatever, and just you're cut loose and to see there bears in here, and you try to climb the skinny trees that the bears can't climb up. But once you get high enough, eventually the branch would come right down. You can be back on the ground. So we'd be trying to climb skinny trees, which I don't think I could do today. But I think when I first went to Italy, because I felt a sense of freedom, and I was so totally out of my element, yet so totally comfortable. And that's where life is an adventure, and you just keep stepping. And I was exposed to, predominantly in Toronto back in the day, most of the Italians came from Calabria, from southern Italy, right? And there's a perception that, southern Italy this and southern Italy that, whatever it may. And where there's smoke, there's some fire, right? Hey, listen, I don't care which part of the world you go into, there's smoke and there's fire. So why to label and focus on one geographic group when this has been around on a global basis from all continents? So I guess maybe it's more dramatic when to say it's Italian or whatever. But so you have this preconception, you're going to a part of Italy that is dangerous. But you know what? So much of it is bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? And I could say that firsthand, living in Calabria there for 6 months. The people are so kind, so warm, so giving, so tight. They'd give you their right hand, and I'm not even their relatives. And they embraced me like my great-great-grandfather was, their great-great-grandfather's brother or something like that. I said, wow, this is beautiful, right? So that was pretty profound. I didn't stop there.
Well, no, Kelly, we've witnessed that
in your own career
firsthand as well, and not only through our own eyes, but through the eyes of our children. Just recently, Jerry and I had the good fortune to take both our boys, they're both 19 years old, to Hungary, and watching them experience a fairly misunderstood culture through their own lens was refreshing. Let's just say that.
Yeah, their own lens.
Through their own lens, right? It was very refreshing. And so I get what you're saying. It's so impactful. And I guess the message in all of that is get out there, try it, and touch it,
Screw it, just do it.
Right.
Sir Richard Branson, Virgin Atlantic, another music guy, right?
Exactly.
Another guy that loves the Caribbean, right? He wrote this book, a very easy read. You can get it on Amazon to this day. I don't know what edition it is now, but I think the title was all I needed to see. But actually, I didn't need to see. It was just a positive reaffirmation of my own belief system, and it's like, screw it. Let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it. There's the team thing coming here. Let's do it. You know, and it's not an island alone. Sometimes you can feel like a man alone on an island, so you better surround yourself with good people and let's do it.
Kelly, I want to delve into a couple of things. It's fascinating listening to you. Just do it. I get it. I love it. There's a lot of challenges with the business. There's the minutia of moving a business forward. And I listen to you talk about the way you're living, but I also realize you've got one heck of a beautiful operation here. And how do you stay calm when you've got this and that and this employee and the payroll? And I struggle sometimes with that with Alan and I, and we've got a small operation. And I'm sure there's lots out there struggling with that.
Nothing's impossible to a determined mind. You live like water and conquer all obstacles around you. Confucius would say, society's like a big tub of dye. Take that raw cotton or silk and put it in a tub of black dye, even for 30 seconds. It's now some shade of gray. In that black dye long enough, it's going to be black. So, what do you want to surround yourself with? What type of people you want to surround yourself with, right? I think with my own life, you know, I started really young as an entrepreneur. I actually had I had my first bank loan before of legal age.
Right.
You know, in the 1970s, I had a bank. I was born in '63, and you know, I had a bank loan from CIBC. I guess like a lot of kids I grew up in Clarkson Park. You know, there was like long driveways and big lawns, and one of the chores at home on the weekends was summertime, cut the grass, wintertime, shovel the driveway. And you know, my father, you know, bless his soul, as a developer, he was doing some industrial condos in Burlington. And at the end of the summer, after cutting lots of lawns, I was cutting lawns in the neighborhood, you know. It started with skate-a-thons, actually, back to hockey. You know, we had skate-a-thons to raise money, you know, knocking on doors. Will you sponsor me? You know, one penny. I thought, woohoo, I got a penny, right?
I haven't thought about a skate-a-thon in 40 years, but anyway.
But now I got to go skate around that thing 200, 300 times, right? And then someone would, at the same time, give you a nickel. I said, wow, that's big, right? Now I got to go around 400 times, you know, because the more money you raised, you got prizes.
Yeah.
You got rewarded, meritocracy, right? Which is part of the answer as to how you get here. You know, you give people the freedom to fuck up.
Yeah.
Let them learn, right? Because you learn out of making mistakes, right? Unless you're an idiot, but then you don't deserve to learn,
Right.
right? And that you can only take for so long, right? But most of the time people make mistakes because they're trying.
Yeah.
Charge on, live and learn, right? And that's what it's been for me, right?
You would describe it as, and now of course the words that are used are fail often, fail early, and move on, right? And learn from that process.
Yeah. Well, I have a scroll that was done by an artist in Shanghai in 1984, and it's one of my most cherished treasures. It's all in Mandarin. 成功之路，失败作为成功之母. And what that translates into is the road to success. Failure is the mother of success. Failure's good.
100%.
Rock on.
Yeah.
You fall down, get up. Don't waste time getting up though, because the time clock's always running. Right?
Yeah.
Do what you can when you can.
Kelly, we've covered your early days. Great. We've talked about your that early journey academically and through sports and the like, and your early travels.
Yeah.
Some of the things that inspired you and motivated you. I'll talk a little bit about business. When did you know down deep inside, and we're not going to let you eat any of this.
That's okay. It's okay.
Because it's so very good. I just want you to know.
You guys are doing a great job.
We're doing a great job. I guess the best compliment we can give the chef is we're just going to eat this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, Kelly, when did you know that you were meant to be your own boss? That this was the path I was on?
He had a loan when he was 10.
When did you come? When did that realization come to you to say, this is with my journey?
I suppose there was never any thought about it because my father was an entrepreneur, business owner, and that's what I understood. So it's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. And, you know, again, in nothing we find everything. Well, we come into this world with nothing. Can't take a U-Haul at the end of it all either. Endings in the beginning are somewhat alike, so be happy. But the sooner I start, the sooner I'll get to what later I would define as my Freedom 55, right? So it started with skate-a-thons because you had some financial rewards there, and then cutting lawns and shoveling driveways. I started to go with this story. My father, in one of his projects in Burlington, he had a tenant that moved in that was in the lawn care equipment business. And I'm seeing there, at the end of summer, lawn tractors that have snowblower attachments on it. And that's where the conversation, I know my father knows that I cut lawns and do this little micro business on the side, but why do it the hard way if there's a smarter way to do it, right? Ramp up production. I mean, how long is it going to take me to shovel the driveway, and how long is it going to take me to have a snowblower go up and down the driveway? You know, so you can scale up.
Right.
And so I said, Dad, I need some money, right? And I'm not about giving kids money. But what he said to me, go to a bank, but I'll teach you how. So it's trade, not aid. And so I, at a very young age, you know, basically before going to Italy, as a 16-year-old, I had a bank loan.
Yeah.
But I had to go into the bank. He taught me how to make a simple pitch book, a business plan, had to answer the questions. And, you know, so what are we going to the bank? Is what are you going to call? Right? So I was too afraid to call, so I just walked into the bank. I was more comfortable to just walk in and just ask for somebody.
Yeah.
After all, knocking on all these doors, I can deal with that better than someone saying no to me over a phone.
Right.
Right? And plus I learned it's harder for people to say no in person.
100%. Yeah.
So anyways, off to the bank I go, and I convinced the bank manager, said, but given your age, you have to have a guarantor. So I think at that point in time, something's wrong, or something's right. No pun intended, right? And had that little micro business, and I had more fun driving. Like I'm driving before I had a driver's license. I'm not very mechanically minded, maybe artistic, but not mechanically. And I seized the engine.
No.
Before the snow started to fly.
No.
But after the grass stopped growing. That was a cash flow crunch because I had to pay the bank, and I had to fix this piece of equipment, and it wasn't cheap. Well, that's the first time I realized stress of owning a business.
Yeah.
You're not going to call in sick.
You can't call in. You got to call in too. Like sports, everything else, you fall down, get up off your knees, and figure it out, right? And so I knew at that point in time, but I've had these little entrepreneurial experiences that help bring me to where I am today.
Right. Stress of owning a business. Let's stay on that topic for a moment.
Sure.
You strike me as not a very stressed guy. You seem to be able to manage that. In fact, you must have tips and techniques, and I'd love to learn about those.
Yeah.
But how do you
That's another
manage
conversation another day.
that stress?
We have here at Kokomo. It was said very well by a friend of mine, an Italian friend of mine in Toronto, who came down here, who leads a very stressed life. And he says, you know what you do here? Because I see what you do here. You relax, you breathe, and you grow. And I said, Frank, I love that. I'm going to adopt that and use that because that's precisely what I do. In China, I was fortunate enough to learn some Tai Chi and Qigong. Qi is energy, Gong is work, energy work.
Okay.
But it all starts with breathing. You know, when we get uptight, our heartbeat goes up. We're breathing like, you know, we got all these monkeys in our mind.
Happened to me this morning.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Potentially what's happening when you lost that drone there for once. It's just, you know what? When you relax, calm down, take some deep breaths, relax, just breathe. And all of a sudden the monkeys go away, and then you can see clearly.
Can I compliment you right off the bat? When that happened, you basically said, no, I'm not going to impose on you guys. Just find that drone.
Right.
I
So
was
we don't
really
need to-
impressed with that, frankly, because others would say, no, come on, we need to do this.
Now or never.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right? That's the water. All of a sudden there's this little obstacle in our path. Just go around it, you know, it'll all work out, right? But it allowed you to focus on what would be a monkey in the back of your mind if we were doing what we're doing now, having not divided.
Well, you're
Brilliant.
right.
That was brilliant. Divide and conquer. Like life carries on, but it allowed you to focus on one thing and you to focus on another.
You also talked about mindset, because you were right. My mind was not set on sitting with you at that moment.
Can't be.
And this thing we do, there's a lot of precision needed. And anyway, I just thought it was really impressive.
Well,
I'm cutting you off, Al.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. It's a trivial thing that happened, and for the audience, shall not know that
happens.
we arrived and we were going to do a drone shot of the property, and we lost the drone because we're close to an airport. Had to go find the drone. And you're right, Jerry. Kelly did calm the situation.
Thank you.
But what you didn't know is that when you walked away, Kelly said to me, and you can correct my words, but you said to me that I like to put myself in the mind of the other person and what they're going through in that moment.
Right. Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, rispetto porta rispetto. You know, respect people like they respect you. And saying, all right, how can I show respect at that moment for you? I can start by putting myself in your shoes.
Well,
And then putting myself back in my own shoes and say, okay, what do you need right now to calm that mind?
well, just to add to that, and not to get into the whole technical side of things, but and we have a really we interviewed a guy who does a lot of video work, and it's not about the loss of the drone. Yes, financially it's not good, but it's the data on the card.
But I said, yeah.
That is that's all I could think about, because it was full of stuff that I shot this morning
Wow.
at Stan Hartling's beautiful resort. So
Yeah, amazing.
Anyway.
Another artist
yeah.
Kelly,
who's an accountant by background. I think Stan is a
Yes.
chartered accountant like my father was.
Yes.
Yeah.
but your ability to kind of quickly go to that space and say, how do I put myself in that person's, walk a mile in their shoes in the moment? Can you imagine if we had more of that in the world right now? That ability to do that?
You know, I suppose maybe this is a segue into future things, because one of the things that I really want to do with my life is I can't go back to different cultures, different countries, different peoples, different experiences of all the people that have been influential on who I am as a human being, because I have gratitude is the attitude, right? But I wish I could go back to people that they're just not there anymore. I mean, that's life, right? And I feel as part of the human race, it's not a give and take world. It really isn't. Those are opposing energies. It's a give and get world.
Yeah.
Give a hand and receive a hand, right? So I think, even in this day and age, like a conversation like this today, it's like it could, to me, it's like it's a line. One of the reasons why, you know what, this is interesting. It's we live in the now. All we have is now. We don't know what tomorrow brings. But to inspire people and to share with people, young and old, I don't care where they are. It doesn't matter race, religions, sexual proclivities. It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't have any labels, right? It's all there. It's all good, right? To just try to have a positive influence on people, as positive versus negative, right? And who's to say what's positive? Maybe that's just an opinion, right? But you know, just to try to like Tai Chi, you know, you have an energy force going a certain way. With just a little finger, you could change 1,000 pounds of force. You know, it reminds me of, it'll come to me, an Italian, or an Italian, a Chinese saying, which is rooted in the fundamentals of Tai Chi. It'll come to me.
It's funny. I was thinking this morning of a saying, and it may be rooted in Chinese studies, but if you think that you're too small to make a difference, try spending a night in a tent with a mosquito.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're truly making a difference there.
You know, forgive me, I'm not going social. I just,
No.
I think it's a really...
I like that. I'm not going social. That's a good expression.
No, this is like my it's like a walking.
Right.
Well, it's a lot more than what it is, but it's where I also keep some of my notes.
I'll steal that saying because I often have two phones going when we're shooting recordings.
Yeah.
And people wonder, what's he doing? I'm not going social.
I'm going to use that line.
I'm not going social.
I'm not going social.
Right.
Kelly,
so let's keep going, and I'll
yeah. So we talk a lot about, you know, your business journey, and you knew early you didn't want to be an entrepreneur. You learned what it was to run a business at an early age. Other business, like when did the Turks and Caicos first enter your orbit? When did that first happen?
1980.
Tell me about that.
We're going to interrupt that first. Find out what these are.
Oh, yeah.
Hold that thought.
Hold that thought. Yeah.
So I just prepared on the detox and the healthy side.
Microphone.
I prepared a pineapple with a ginger.
I can't wait. So tell us what you prepared again.
So on keeping with the detox, I decided to put together a nice pineapple and ginger drink.
That's
Nice and healthy.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
That's wonderful.
What's the expression?
2口1斤. So with one gin, like 500 grams, you can move 10,000 pounds. It's from Tai Chi,
Yeah.
right? It's very philosophical. By little things, you can make a big difference,
Yeah.
right? You know, because you got an amazing force go this way, and it's forever change direction.
Right.
This with the tap.
Kelly?
And
Yeah,
that
sorry.
it all comes back to that whole philosophical outlook on life.
Right.
You say, oh, I can't do it. Well, you know what? Just do one little thing. You'd be surprised what can happen. Like the domino effect, all of a sudden it's going off in a different direction.
Go ahead.
I think you're right, Kelly. What I see, and Alan and I think a lot about youth. We have fairly young children in their 20s. I think they need to know, they need to be able to listen and hear what you've just said.
So you think
they feel down.
you think under 20s, kids in their teenage years should be listening to me?
Yes.
Really?
Well, on that note, have you ever mentored people? Have you ever taught courses at university?
Well, no, not in university, but one thing that is really important for me, each and every single day, to be able to look in the mirror and say, did I try to have a positive impact on somebody's life today?
Yeah.
Right? You know, and so wherever I am in my daily travels or journeys, I'm going to try to inspire or motivate or turn negative into positive with whatever their energy is at that point in time, so that they can just better believe in themselves. And, you know, rather than looking at the cup as half empty, look at it as half full. And if it's empty, celebrate, because now it can be filled.
Right. Exactly.
I myself, with the little kids, like the toddlers and stuff, I have no patience.
No, I don't.
I never had my own kids, no children, right? You see when they're young, and you like to have an influence, but they won't conceptually be able to understand what I'm trying to say. But we all look at our own lives, and where I figure I started to absorb philosophy and more than just philosophy, wisdom, and understand the experiences that people have had to make it my own. I mean, hey, the best education costs money. All education costs money. It's like, how are you going to pay?
Right.
Right? So if I can get educated by somebody just by listening, I don't need to pay for that education anymore, right? If you put your hand on the stove as a kid, you're going to get your fingers burned. But if somebody could tell me, don't put your hand there because you're going to get your fingers burned, then I've already learned that now. Right. Next. So you can compress many years into much less just by learning from other people. And so it's like, what can I do to teach other people? So I feel that teenage years is where I can start to have an impact. But for me, it's just like young or old, why not? Right? Even to start conversations here. Maybe there's something I say.
There's no, Kelly, you're be certain that there's something you were going to say here today that will impact somebody. It will impact somebody. Guaranteed.
Hopefully in a positive way.
Oh, certainly in a positive way.
Think good, do good, get good,
All we've talked about here were positive and inspirational things, right?
PMA. Not PMS.
PMA.
Positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
Remember, gratitude is the attitude? Just focus on the positive side.
It's an easy thing to say.
Yeah, I know.
It's a hard thing for some folks to do, isn't it?
It is. And that's where maybe there's a twitch that goes off with somebody that will hear this, see this conversation at some point in time, and hey, mission accomplished, right?
We've experienced that, Alan, in the what we've created with Gale Force Wins, and
I love the name, by the way, Gale Force Wins.
It's what we believe in.
Yeah.
But there was a time when we were questioning some of the things we were doing, and what is it called? What's the term? Where you second guess yourself.
Self-doubt?
Yeah, there was self-doubt. No, I mean we're older entrepreneurs. I mean, I've been in business development.
No, I'm younger than you, Jerry, but go ahead.
That's right. He's 2 months.
I'm younger than both you guys. Right? Go ahead.
You got us by 3 years. But that whole experience of finally pulling the trigger on going out on our own. I mean, I've been dreaming about it since I was 26. I always call myself a semipreneur because I shot wedding videos on the weekend, but I had a job.
Yeah. See, people like that, to be able to reach out to them as an audience, because I started so young. I mean, I've never worked for anybody in my life. I've never had a boss. I've never been fired. I failed, but I've never been fired. Right? And, I mean, even people that work within our operations here, if they were all entrepreneurs, risk takers, but, take ownership for your actions, right? It's just, it's just, it doesn't matter what your skill is. Be creative. Today you need to be creative.
Yes.
It's really good to be creative, right? If you can create anything, we're in an age where there's whatever we know today, especially now with AI, and actually my youngest brother coined this, I can't take ownership of it. We have human intelligence, we have emotional intelligence, and then you have AI, artificial intelligence, right? We could have a conversation about, human intelligence and emotional intelligence, and the new buzz acronym now is AI, artificial intelligence. But what happens when you combine all of those together? What do you get? It's not a zero-sum game, this or that. It's the sum of the parts. It's what makes one a whole. So we have to look into the future as to what is that going to look like. And if you know what that's going to look like today, you know what? You're the next Elon Musk, or the next. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. All right. The main course.
You're in a good point, but I motioned him to bring it over.
Yeah.
Oh Lordy.
Wow.
Here you go, chef. You can explain this to
Okay.
us.
So this is a sous vide tomahawk, like
Sous vide.
two and a half hours sous vide, and this is the honey lemon glazed roasted pineapple. This is broccolini with sautéed garlic, and with trio of sauces, truffle mushroom sauce, wasabi steak sauce, and this is garlic butter with some greens and cherry tomatoes.
Yum.
So I will
And this
just.
is from where, chef? Where's this from?
This is from the St. Lawrence Market,
St. Lawrence Market in
Toronto,
Toronto.
Canada.
Toronto.
You just walk in and you see this stuff as soon as
Uppercut
you walk
Meats.
in.
It's Uppercut Meats. Bobby is the owner of this business name. He's one of the oldest butchers in the St. Lawrence Market today, and we met each other from when I was still living in that part of the world. You know, it's amazing.
Thank you, chef. Oh,
Yeah, no. Finish it. It's not. Yeah. Do what you got to do.
Do what you
All
got to
right.
do there, chef.
So
do we need to
move
do?
these glasses away a little bit because
Okay.
this is part of the show and tell part, right? All right. Get ready.
we got a good camera angle.
Well,
Fire and water.
when we come back,
Yeah.
hold on a second, chef. When we come back, we're going to talk about when you first stepped foot on the Turks and Caicos and what drove you to create this incredible establishment we're in. Go ahead, chef. Light it up.
Oh.
Just press there.
Okay, if you could take Jerry's eyebrows off, that'd be great.
Okay, we're good. Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got that
Rosemary.
crispiness of the rosemary now on top of the steak that's come off of the Argentine grill.
Right.
So it's an experience, right?
Well, lighting up the steak from the St. Lawrence Market and the wine arriving,
Perfect timing.
it's a great time to take a little break, and our guests will come back. And when they do come back, they're going to learn about one of the most spectacular places
Bar none.
in the Turks and Caicos.
Bar none.
And you're going to
the
tell
Turks
us
and
all
Caicos.
about
Oh, I
it.
thought you were talking about Turks and Caicos. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, good.
End of part 1 of 2.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Wins. That's Gale Force Wins, WINS.com.